you and hot towel you.
Or you get a massage too?
No.
Manicure, pedicure.
I grow it out, and you guys complain, I cut it, you guys.
We were complaining, we just noticed.
Yeah, it looks very nice.
Growing it back out.
Yeah, you were looking like Nightly Whiplash there for a while, that big old handlebar mustache.
We're gonna continue item number 4 on the agenda. Looking for a recommended motion to move to come out of the closed session at 9:49 p.m.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn back into regular session.
We have a motion by Mike and seconded by James to come out of closed session at 9:49 p.m. Are there any further discussions? Hearing none, Lisa, would you please take roll?
Barb,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes. Motion passed.
With that, I'll make a motion that we instruct the village attorney to continue negotiations with Chief Greenleaf and his counsel.
Support.
We have a motion by Mike and seconded by James to instruct the village attorney to continue negotiations with Chief Greenleaf and his counsel. Are there any questions at this time? Discussion at this time? Hearing none, would you take the roll, Lisa?
James,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes, the motion has passed. We are on item number 5 on the agenda, which is the public comment. Items that the public would like to discuss at this time. Once again, if you'd like to come to the podium, just sign in and state your name. I believe the paperwork was given to you, Lisa. You need to put that back up there. Thank you. And once again, the council has adopted a resolution limiting each speaker to the 5 minutes unless voted on by council. And if deemed appropriate, our village attorney will go ahead and speak at this time. Is there anyone who would like to discuss? Yes, sir.
Caleb Whalen, and one question that many of us had is we're wondering if Bob is the village president, why, and he's logged in, he's part of the Zoom, so he's part of council, why he is not running the meetings, why you, we understand your pro term when he's not here, but he is here. So even though he's on Zoom, why he is not running the meetings is my first question. And the other thing I think would be more of a statement is reading the advance concerning the planning commission and removing their pay and stuff. Obviously, at least I have no idea what went on there, but it seems like if they were blindsided and didn't know what was happening until days later, that it just seems like something wasn't done like in order. Like, why wouldn't there have been like a public comment? Like, I don't know if they needed the money or what have you, but why is that not brought out? There's public conversation regarding it, you know, you as trustees discussing it and then voting, or if they could say something. It just, for most of you that talk about transparency, that just seems like an absolute utter lack of transparency when the people affected had no clue until 2 days later.
If I may, let's address your first issue. And Danielle, if you would address that for us regarding Bob's position and why I'm running the meeting at this particular time.
So Zoom just poses some challenges sometimes with making sure that Bob can hear everything clearly and that he can run the meetings efficiently. And I think I mentioned this earlier, it's our goal just to make sure that things are running smoothly. So with Gwen being here in person and being pro tem, it just helps streamline that process so that we're not having a lag or delay if for any reason there were technical difficulties, or, you know, if at any point we cut out on Bob, we're not sitting here wondering what's the next step, kind of.
Just an FYI as well, this is a scheduled vacation for Bob Valdez. He will be here for Monday's meeting, which is on October the 11th, which he had planned to be here. Yes, sir. Regarding the planning commission, Jerry, did you want to address that? I thought I saw you wanted to.
I was just gonna say, we did talk about that in our budget workshop sessions that we had, if I remember correctly, at least two different times, yeah. About items we were gonna cut, ways we were gonna cut back. The planning commission was the only board that was being paid. And in an effort to keep things equal through the boards and honestly to make some room for it in the budget, we scaled that back.
But were they made aware of it, or, I mean, obviously, we're
That
not,
I
we don't know,
cannot
just what
speak
we can read, but
Mhm.
they're saying they did not know about it, and we're not made aware of it.
So, and I can answer that. So I actually had attended their meeting, and I don't remember the date, and we talked about budget and the capital improvement plan. And I had honestly thought that I told them. However, if I did not, I will own the mistake if I missed that. And honestly, I have no other reason that I would have done that outside of just everything going on. So I'll own that if I made that mistake. I know I intended to tell them. I thought that I may have missed that or forgotten, so that would be my fault.
Those answer your questions, sir?
ma'am.
Is there anyone else Jim, did you have something you'd like to address?
Yes. When I retired, I thought I wouldn't have to do stuff like this anymore, but I do have a question. And it's a procedure, I'm sorry, Jim Wanacott, 314 Franklin Street. I have a procedural question regarding whether or not it was appropriate for you to make any motion, much less that one, when you came out of closed session. In the Open Meetings Act for special meetings, as was covered last time, the council can only do the things that are put on their agenda for that special meeting. The only thing on your agenda was closed session. There's nothing on the agenda about discussing anything in an open session or making any motions in an open session. So my question is, was that a legal motion? Thank you.
Well, Phil, would you like to?
Do you have a copy of the agenda? I want to make sure that I read it verbatim. The stated purpose of the closed session was to discuss settlement demand in the matter of the continued employment of Dale Greenleaf by the village of Blissfield. That was also the stated purpose of the meeting in the posting.
In a closed session,
Yeah,
there's nothing on the agenda about any other discussion or action, closed session. open session, or
the
otherwise.
result of the closed session could have been no action at all. It could have been some other action with regard to that agenda item. And the motion from the village council was to instruct the village attorney to continue negotiations in the settlement negotiations with Chief Greenleaf and his council, which is entirely appropriate and germane.
Is there anyone else in the public that would like to take this opportunity?
Yes, I was.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Christina. I live off of Forky Road. So I just wanted to publicly say that I'm new to this and I don't know what I'm doing, but I can't stay silent. This situation with Greenleaf has turned me into somebody who cares. Whereas before I just was somebody who lived here and just worked and paid my taxes. I think it's very important that we support our police. And I feel like with the actions taken and the way that they have been taken, we are showing our police officers that we do not respect them, that we do not support them. And especially since we are between Toledo and Adrian, Toledo and Chicago, Toledo and Ann Arbor, I feel like this town needs really good police officers, and Greenleaf is, because he still is, an amazing police chief. And if he gets fired, you will have a lot of angry people. It cannot be us versus you. It cannot be you versus us. You represent us. And if you begin to not represent us, we will make sure that you don't represent us. So I guess my question is, down the line, can you guys tell me when your term limits are up? And I'm gonna write it down.
Mine is November of 22.
November of 24.
November 22.
November 24th.
November 22.
And I'm November 24.
And Bob would be November 22.
Yep, November 22. Thank you.
Madam Pro Tem, it was
Thank you.
also, it's also, she also should have stated her last name.
I'm just gonna ask that as well. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Jerry.
I'm sorry,
We've got
Christina
Christina.
Ermakov.
Say it again, Christina, please.
Christina Ermakov.
Could you please spell that for us?
ERMAKOV.
Thank you, Christine. Anyone else from the public that would like to take this opportunity?
Pam Harps, 336 Cherry Street. I have a question about the Public Open Meeting Act. On your agenda, you put E and H. And E was to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation, but only if an open meeting would have a detrimental financial effect on the litigating or settlement position of the public body. And I think we established there was no litigation. Is that what you said? There's no pending litigation?
There is no litigation filed, that's correct.
So you couldn't really use E in your motion, which you did. You used both E and H in your motion.
That's correct.
So you had to go to H,
Well,
which says,
if, with all due respect, if you go into the case law, what you'll find are a number of cases relating to the Open Meetings Act that relate to threatened, not only pending, but threatened litigation.
I'm only reading what's on the Open Meeting Act.
You're only reading the statute, I understand that. The statute is frequently interpreted by courts, particularly the Court of Appeals and the Michigan Supreme Court.
Well, my question is, since you couldn't use E, you went to H, which says to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute. What is the state or federal statute?
State statute and federal statute provide that communications between a client and their attorney are confidential.
So if you're not discussing a pending, for lack of a better word, employment contract, why does it say that on the agenda? That you just got done saying that you're going to consider further negotiations. Is it for employment or is it for a litigation that isn't really a litigation?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Is the continuing discussion for the employment of the chief, or is it for a pending litigation, which you said there wasn't one? What is the continuing negotiation for?
What I said was that the courts of this state have interpreted the statute to include threatened litigation.
What is
As
threatened
well as
litigation?
pending litigation.
What is threatened
Just
litigation?
exactly what it sounds like.
I don't know what that.
I'm gonna sue you. That's a threat.
Oh, I didn't know what.
And it's not pending until you do it.
Okay, well, I'm not a lawyer, that's why I'm
Well,
asking you to clarify.
It's a legitimate question. I appreciate your
It's
point of view.
very confusing when people throw terms around and simple people like me don't understand what terms mean, so that's why I'm asking.
I don't think for a moment that you're simple.
Well, I don't understand lawyer things.
Sometimes lawyers don't understand lawyer things, so you're in good company.
That's nothing I think I want to hear, actually. If you're lawyering for the village, I hope you understand what I'm doing.
Sometimes lawyers don't.
So I have a question, and you probably can't answer it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Has our chief broken the law?
I can't answer that.
I figured you couldn't answer it. And I have one last question. Are we ever going to find out what the heck is going on? Because as Christina said, you guys represent us, but I don't want to be represented by people who aren't transparent. I know you think you are, but you're not. So when are we ever going to find out what's going on? He's our chief too. This is our village too, and we want police protection too. So when are we going to get honesty?
We're being as honest as we can at this particular time. You can talk with our attorney on that. There's only so much we can say. I can tell you this, that all of council here is on the same page as you. We want no more, or excuse me, no less than you to be able to tell the public what's going on. We cannot simply do that at this time. But we agree with you. I can, you will see each of us say, yes, we want you to understand. We cannot do that at this time. We are hoping that we are hoping that we can as well.
I hope you understand human nature.
We do.
Because I've heard no less than 6 rumors, all of which are very distressing and none of which are probably true.
You're probably right.
And that just makes everything 10 times
It looks
worse.
horrible. We understand that. Believe me, this council right here understands how things can be perceived right now. But I can tell you this, that each of us, if we could, we would be glad to tell you right now what's going on. We cannot do that at this time. It's been very clear, we can't do anything at this time, and we want to. I can assure you.
It protects not only the well-being of the village, but also the well-being of the chief as well, so.
Yes, it's two-sided.
Yes.
I understand everything you said. Thank you. Do I have to sign this?
Yes, please. Thank you, Pam. Christina, you signed the paper, correct? Okay, thank you. Anyone else like to take this opportunity, Jim?
Jim Wanacott, 314 Franklin Street. You said that you can't.
By the advice of our attorney, we can't speak of anything.
I understand that, but as Mr. Shaver knows, the statute is permissive, not prescriptive. It says the council may go into closed session. It doesn't say it shall.
That's correct.
So the choice is yours,
That's
not
correct.
his, yours.
By advice of counsel, we're
So,
not
but
going to do that.
It's still your, so you've chosen this. You had a choice and this is the route you've chosen.
I did not, I voted to go into closed session.
I've met the board collectively,
Okay, thank you.
but thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome, John.
I have one more thing. Caleb Lamley, 337 Cherry Street.
Say your first name one more time.
Caleb.
I knew it. Thank you, Caleb. Okay.
One question I don't understand why you guys, I personally can't recall anything of this type of nature with employees here or other places where what triggers all of this has not been discussed. You know, something that has been discussed was the incident that took place with Holly, the clerk, with the person that wound up being arrested in this office. And it seems like 2 weeks later, all this started happening. Nobody knows what triggered this with Mr. Greenleaf. Did he say he wanted out of it? Did somebody go to him and then he hired a lawyer? Why can you not at least say what triggered this? Because you don't I mean, it just makes no sense to anybody why you cannot at least let us know the basis why this started. You have to discuss the negotiations, what he wants, what you guys, but there should be something listed why one way or the other. If he did something wrong, then that publicly should be stated. There's nothing to protect him if he did something wrong, or vice versa, you know? Or if the village employees or, you know, of the village, that should be brought to light. We don't have to know the negotiation, what's going on, but we should know why this is going on, what triggered it. So.
Bill, would you like to address that?
No.
Okay. Is there anyone on council that would like to address this, that question at this time? Did you want to address something, ma'am?
I said so much for transparency. It's super frustrating to be on this end of you guys.
It's super frustrating to be on this side right now too. I know that that's gonna sound hollow and perhaps shallow. That's not my intention. Not seeing anyone else that would like to have any discussion at this time. We're gonna go ahead and make a motion for, entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We adjourn.
Support. We have a motion by Mike and seconded by Barb to adjourn the meeting. Lisa, please take call.
Mike,
Yes.
Jared,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Gwen.
Yes, and obviously the motion has passed.